there. Welcome to the Ontario Youth Film Festival Filmmaker 101 series on acting for the camera. My name is Dorothy Downs. I'm the Executive Director of the OYFF, and I'll be your host for today. Now, before we get started on the seminar, I want to remind everybody that our festivals are open for submission at this point until June 30th. So get your films made, get them submitted. This is a layered film festival, meaning you'll submit your films to your regional film festival, and then the winners from that region will all compete against each other at the Ontario Youth Film Festival, where we'll find out who the best youth filmmakers are in the province of Ontario. So don't miss the deadline, June 30th, but get started now. It takes a bit of time to make these films. Find out more details at oyff.ca, and we'll look forward to seeing your films. So today we've got a really great seminar on acting for the camera. We're joined by Romy Golem. He is the new coordinator, or I should say the coordinator for the new program on acting for the screen and stage at Fanshawe College. And so he's going to take us through the process of working a scene and working with actors. And as you watch, if you have questions, just put them in the chat, and I'll come back after he has worked through this process a little bit with our actors, and I'll ask him some of your questions. So without further ado, let me pass it over to Romy.
Thank you, Dorothy. With us today are Andrew Dodd and Heather May. They'll be the actors that we're working in this workshop with today. Heather is a London local actor, director, and landscape designer. She also runs Mabel's Productions. Andrew Dodd is an actor, but he's a graduate from the Advanced Filmmaking program here at Fanshawe College, and he's the manager of Film London, which is the London film office. Today we're going to take a scene from a film. There's actually no real film. It's a scene that's written for the workshop that we can develop in front of you. And we're going to go through the steps that we would suggest you take when you're approaching making your films. How do you go from the script to saying action? What are all the things you need to do to lead up to that? And once that's happening, what are the things that you can do to get the best performances given the amazing screenplays that you've written for your films? So what I would suggest is the first time you get your actors together, Heather and Andrew have never worked together, but this morning they met and they read the scene just to get the words right. And I think the first thing you should always do is have a cold reading, a very neutral reading with whether it's two actors, one actor, or a group of actors, because what could happen is one actor might interpret the scene one way and another actor interprets it another way. And if you do your first reading like that, it could be all over the place. So for you who's watching this, you've never read this screenplay, so they're going to do a very neutral reading first. We've set up a two-shot, so the scene would, in this situation, play up as if this is a countertop at a restaurant, and they're going to do the first reading not the way we want to shoot it, but just so we can hear the words. Are you guys ready? Okay, so we'll switch to the film camera. And you'd exit Andrew to enter the scene. And action.
I can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again. But we were going to...
Yes, like I don't have a life. Where's the waiter? You've got one already.
5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Look this way. Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Purple what? Wait, what did I ask you?
How was your day?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, you asked me how my day was.
Oh, well, how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, the nerve, right?
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Okay, can we just stop saying Jerkhead?
One more. Jerkhead.
What?
Well, tell me what you're up to.
What? Who? What are you talking about?
Working late, working evenings, working weekends.
Sam.
Quinn.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking you a question.
Latte macchiato, skim milk. You?
I'll have another.
Sorry, where were we?
Insinuating, working late, working another weekend.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. I just.
Bing.
Go ahead. What is it? It's a cottage. It's that cottage.
It's that cottage. John helped me lock off the deal today. It was going to be a surprise, so surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah,
Wow.
gonna have to work a lot of weekends and overtime to be able to pay it off, but we finally have it. You asked me what I've been up to.
But you texted me this afternoon. Bought the cottage. Deal closes this afternoon. It's finally ours, our weekend getaway. I love you, John. I promise I'll tell Sam tonight.
Huh.
And cut. Great. So this is just the reading. One of the things that, I also teach filmmaking. Young filmmakers are just thrilled to hear the words that they wrote being said. And if this sounded good and this was decent, but it was nowhere near where this scene should go. And if you're working with a professional crew, you can't always afford to pay for actors to come in and work with you in advance, but you're high school students for the most part. You're probably working with either friends or theater students in your school, and you do have that opportunity. So I'd encourage you to go through this part of the process before you've got a crew there, maybe the day before or a couple of days before, so you could work out things to make the scene way better. So that's what we're going to work on now, is how can we look at this scene and try and make it way more interesting. And so what I'd suggest is that you look at sort of three aspects of it. There's the scene, and what's important in a scene is, does the story move forward? And how does the story move forward? Or the characters. Is there any character development? So these are the two things that would make a reason for a scene to exist, because if you can't answer those, maybe that scene isn't necessary in your story. So for this, we'll look at mostly the characters, because we don't know the real full story of this is just one scene in the middle of something. So we'll really look at the characters and what character development we can do. And again, through rehearsals aren't about getting the lines right. We're going to assume that they know the words. What rehearsals should do is develop the characters and develop the scene and make it better and better as you go over it. And what you do is you take chances. You throw something out there and maybe it doesn't work, but at least you tried it, and then you come back and you fine tune it. So we're going to try and go in one direction with this scene over a few takes, and then we'll try something different and go in a different direction, so you can see the difference a scene can play out depending on the decisions you make as a director with the actors. Another really important thing is to do your research. So, both of these characters, let's say I wrote this and I'm directing it, what I'd love to do to give these actors, before they even show up, is a full biography of these characters so that they know the history of who these people are. And I would suggest that that's something you do as well. Things like, where did they just come from? So we just heard the scene. He's late. She's been waiting at least half an hour. We were talking about this. She's probably been waiting longer than that, because she's the type of person who might have shown up even early, and he's the kind who shows up late. So what has she been doing for 40 minutes, and where did he just come? Because this scene just starts. So it's important for an actor to know, where was I the moment before this scene starts? And then we'll talk about, the term is status, but don't worry about it. It's like, how does the character feel about themselves? And we'll start there with this scene here. So let's do another reading where Quinn is a high status character. So Quinn is very confident and full of himself. And Sam is a much lower status, so a lot shyer and will give in to other people much more easily. So let's just start with that tiny change where, away from the neutral, we've got a high status, very confident, everything's about him, and someone who's a lot shyer and doesn't want to make waves. Okay?
Really exercise my acting chops in this one.
There we go. Action.
I can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again, but we were going to.
Right? Like, I don't have a life. Where's the waiter? Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Purple. What? What did I ask you?
How was your day?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
You asked me how my day was.
Uh-huh. And how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, right? The nerve.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Okay, can we just stop saying Jerkhead?
One more. Jerkhead.
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me what you're up to.
What? Who? What are you talking about?
Working late? Working evenings, weekends?
Sam.
Quinn?
Sam.
Quinn?
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking you a question. What are you up to?
Latte macchiato, skim milk. You?
I'll have another.
Anyway, sorry. Where were we?
Insinuating, macchiato, working another weekend.
Sam.
Quinn?
Stop it.
I'm sorry, I just...
Ping.
Go ahead. What is it? It's a cottage. It's that cottage?
It's that cottage. John helped me lock off the deal today. It was going to be a surprise, so surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to work a lot of overtime and a lot of weekends to afford it, but we finally have it. You asked me what I've been up to.
But you texted me this afternoon. Bought the cottage. Deal closes this afternoon. It's finally ours. Our weekend getaway. Our little love nest. I love you, John. I promise I'll tell Sam tonight.
Cut. Great. So they're the same words. We've, the reading went through, and now we've heard this take on it. What we changed was this status between, his high status and her lower status. What you need to notice is behavior now. And so just making that small adjustment, I mean, it ends up being a pretty big adjustment for the scene, but it wasn't a lot of conversation. We just sort of made two choices, one choice for each of the characters. When we do it again, watch behavior. So that's the real key is, people go to see a play and they go, wow, how do you learn all those lines? Or even in a film, that's not the hard part for an actor. That's like saying, oh, wow, your film was in focus. That's great. That's knowing the lines is a given. It's what can you do during or in between the lines. And when you start getting into direction like this and performance like this, you start to see behavior and really interesting behavior. So suddenly he's behaving differently, she's behaving differently. Let's do it one more time. Let's keep the statuses the way they are. Play yours the same, but you were coming in and out. Save your confidence till you show him the text.
Okay.
It's really great that you have trouble with the eye contact until that moment. So if you can hold off on that and really, delay that final, and that's where suddenly your lower status or your sheepishness with him steps up. And that's where yours steps down. And suddenly what we have is a shift in the characters in the scene. So let's go with that and work on pacing a bit. And we can go too far. Try and find larger moments where the dialogue slows down or speeds up, or nothing is said. You know, like at the moment where he goes and he's clearly checking his phone and you're going to say purple. See how far you can stretch that with behavior. He's looking here. In this scene, he's always distracted. He's looking for the waiter. He's checking his phone. This gives us, from the camera's point of view, a lot of great opportunity to see how you're really feeling because he's not seeing you. Anytime he looks at you, you hide. But anytime he's not looking at you, because the camera can see that he's not paying attention, you can reveal little things. And you don't have to do a lot, but let's use the pacing. Let's increase moments of silence so something can happen like that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
that an
sure.
actor
Yeah,
might
yeah.
ask? So, thinking about sound, am I allowed to look around, to turn away, to deliver lines in different directions, or are you going to lose? Are you going to lose me?
In this situation, we might have a problem with it, but if that's the right thing for the scene, there would be a boom operator who would move around and follow you.
Yeah.
We're set up on a stand here, and we've got microphones hidden. So don't worry about that for this setup.
Yeah.
But for sure, if you're making a film, those are considerations that your sound person would have to follow. If Andrew was to look away and deliver a line, the boom operator would have to reach over and make sure that they catch that line and move around with the microphone. But that's a great question because sometimes the sound person is usually the last person who's considered, unfortunately, and they're the ones who say, well, we can't get that. So sometimes the actor will have to maybe look that way but then come back and deliver the line.
And do you find that actors will often ask something like that ahead of the time, or will they just do it and then cause havoc for some of the crew who have to follow that stuff around?
If you do enough rehearsing,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a big surprise.
Gotcha.
Now, you shouldn't rehearse to the point that it's robotic. Like you want to rehearse to really develop the scene and the characters, but if you over-rehearse, sometimes it becomes really kind of mechanical on set. So you want to make sure that you save some of the real energy for when you're rolling for real. So those sorts of things can be explored in the rehearsal, but sometimes it just happens, because you keep it organic so that when you're making the film, it's still alive. And it's not a live show, so if ever you try something, it's like, oh, well, let's try another take.
Yeah.
Or what's really nice is, if you're working with a director and the director's got an idea of what they want, and you get everything that the director wants, as a director, it's really nice to say, okay, why don't we try it a different way and just, we have the option in the editing room then to try that thing you were saying. Let's just go that way. But if you're running late, sometimes you don't have the time for that.
Or if you're shooting on film.
Or if you're shooting on film and the budget's much bigger.
Want that, yeah.
But everyone here, I don't think too many people will be shooting on film. So what we're going to work on here this time is we're going to keep the statuses as a high status, a low status. We're going to try and hide a little more through the lack of eye contact until that moment where some confidence kicks in and we have a big turning point in the scene and in our story. And we're going to work on changing the pacing. Some faster, some slower, some longer moments of silence. Again, too much is fine. We can always bring that back in, and when we were making a film, we'd probably cover it, and we could tighten it in editing.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's go for another take.
I'm going to change the waiter eye line to over here when I look.
Okay? So that's another thing Andrew just mentioned. We're going to change some eye lines, too, in terms of, so this is the camera here, that's the film camera. They're going to look for the waiter closer to the camera's eye line, so they're going to look over here when the waiter finally arrives. Action.
Can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John, he asked me to work this weekend again.
Again? But
Yeah,
we were
like,
gonna-
I don't have a life? Where's the waiter? What, you had one already?
It's 5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Jeez, okay, look over here, please. How was your day?
Purple.
Purple. Wait, what? What did I ask you?
How was your day?
Well, it's fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, You asked me how my day was.
Well, how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
Well, I know, right? The nerve.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Okay, can we just stop saying jerkhead?
One more? Jerkhead?
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me what you're up to.
What are you talking about?
Working late? Working weekends?
Sam.
Quinn?
Sam.
Quinn?
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm just asking a question. What are you up to?
I don't. Latte macchiato, skim milk. You?
Same.
Anyway, where were we?
Macchiato. Insinuating. Working another weekend.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it.
I'm sorry, I just...
Ding.
Go ahead. What is... It's a cottage? It's that cottage?
It's that cottage. John helped me lock in the deal today. It was going to be a surprise, so surprise.
Surprise. Wow.
I mean, I'm going to have to work a lot of weekends and a lot of overtime to be able to afford it, but we finally have it. So you asked me what I'm up to.
You texted me this afternoon. Bought the cottage. Deal closes this afternoon. It's finally ours, our weekend getaway, our love nest. I love you, John. I promise that I will tell Sam tonight.
Cut. Great. So speaking of behavior, I loved the moment when you first say, tell me what's up. I'm not sure if you were seeing this too, but the arms crossed, her shoulders, she kind of leans away from him suddenly. It's very subtle, but again, it's behavior. And that's what we're looking for here, is all the stuff that can happen beyond the dialogue and the action lines. What are the things that, between my directions and their performance, what can we bring out of this scene? And I thought it was really great. And then that moment when you finally decide, okay, I'm going to show him, that the final eye contact, I thought made a huge difference for the scene. How did you guys feel?
Good. Yeah, I was thinking about eye contact as well, and moments where I feel like Sam was asking Quinn something that Quinn doesn't want to talk about. That's when Quinn might break eye contact, right? Quinn tries to dominate whenever Quinn can, but in those moments he kind of has to ground himself because he's been caught in something.
Yeah. And you, Heather?
Definitely more with the pacing, some interesting opportunities, knowing that his eyes aren't on me, that I can have that moment just with myself and the camera and just myself and the audience, because I know he can't see me.
Yeah.
In those gaps.
And that's one of the things, when we start developing this and then incorporating what the camera can do, that's what's really nice about film, and not better than theater, but certainly different than theater, is because we can come in on close-ups. So in a little bit, we're going to change the setup so that it's not a two-shot like this, it'll be an over-the-shoulder. And it is those moments that you can take advantage when you're making a film, little moments where, on a stage you may not be able to do it as clearly, but he looks down at his phone. The audience, as a filmmaker, I can let the audience know something about her that he doesn't know. So the audience is in on something that's going on in the scene that one of the characters isn't, simply from the point of view of when you say, okay, even if it's when he's looking for the waiter or the waitress, When we start playing around with status, and we're going to switch them up a bit, Heather's character can reveal what she's thinking about him, the fact that he shows up late. You know, when the eye contact isn't as big an issue. So things you can reveal on film in the close-ups when someone just looks away for a second is great. And I agree, the pacing really makes a big difference. It gives you more time to behave. So
Right.
things that aren't written, like we've got the dialogue here, but all it says is he's checking his phone, and then you were doing so many interesting things. Finally, again, as a low status person, we could see that you were engaged with something and that you were able to reveal some emotion as opposed to just hiding.
Right.
So let's do it again. So now we've got the statuses like this. Let's bring them back to a little bit more level. And I'd say Quinn's character is a player. Like, I think he's something that any situation, you've got to turn with it. So as soon as she brings up what's going on here, change your tactics. And tactics is another important thing that directors and actors need to speak about, because characters in a scene are going somewhere. Something's happening and they use tactics. So both of these characters are up to something. They both know something that the other doesn't, or at least they both have secrets. He doesn't know that she knows his secrets, but she has a secret that she knows. So when we're developing this scene, it's important to realize that from the very second he walks in, she knows that he's having an affair. And so this actor needs to make choices based on that. Why is she here? If she got that text earlier, and that's, again, not written on the script. That's something that the director and the two actors need to talk about. Why do you think she's here? How can we make that work?
One of the ways we had kind of discussed a little bit is that I'm really hoping that I've misunderstood this somehow. I'm hoping Quinn's going to come in and explain everything, and it's not what I think. And then when I realize it is what I think, I'm not too impressed.
Yeah, and this works when we're playing it this way, with you being the shyer, the lower status character, and him being kind of the controller of the relationship. Mm-hmm. So let's do it one more time. Let's try and get away from the bigger, so a little higher status for you,
Yep.
But still those beats where you have trouble confronting him until that moment when he's proven himself to be a full-out liar.
Okay.
Then you can go there, and I think you need to play it up and down, change your status depending on what you need for it to happen. And again, we know the words. Don't worry about the words so much. Watch the behavior. Watch what's happening by these actors about these characters, that it's making this scene more and more interesting every time we do it.
As a player, too, it kind of makes me think that I wonder if Sam knows that he is a player, right? So maybe not me. Maybe he hasn't cheated around with me, but maybe previously I'm aware of his infidelities. So I'm like, okay, is it my turn now? Like, is that right? So it's more of an even.
You might be
but I'm
aware
curious.
of Quinn's tactics.
It's like
Yeah.
this. I think
And
I know
again,
what this is.
while we're
I'm hoping
playing
it's
it,
not.
while we're playing it as this lower status, I think it's justifiable for her to
Right.
still keep hoping.
I'm hoping.
And then, but the important part of this scene is that moment when you know. And that's the big, and another term that you should get used to using is beats. You break down the scene into beats, and they can be little moments, they can be big moments. And for this scene, the big beat, the big turning point is when
I love you, John.
when she decides, I'm showing you this text because I know you're full of it. Okay? So let's do it one more time
Yep.
with that.
Are you okay if I put my hand on you?
Yep.
Before you come in. And at home, just watch for the behavior more than the dialogue. Watch what's going on in the unwritten parts of this scene. Action.
I can't believe that guy.
John?
Yeah, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again, but we were going to.
Right. Like I don't have a life, right? Where's the waiter? You got one already?
It's 5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Here, look over here, please. Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Purple. Wait, what? What did I ask you?
How was your day?
Well, that's fine, until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, you asked me how my day was.
Oh, yeah. How was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, right? The nerve of that guy.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Okay. Maybe we just stop saying Jerkhead.
One more. Jerkhead.
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me what's going on.
What? What are you talking about?
Working late? Working weekends?
Sam.
Quinn.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking a question. What are you up to?
Look. Latte macchiato, skim milk. And you?
I'll have another.
Sorry, now, where were we?
Macchiato, insinuating,
Sam.
working another weekend.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. I'm.
Bing.
Go ahead. What is it? It's a cottage. It's that cottage.
It's that cottage. I closed the deal with John today. It was going to be a surprise, so... Surprise?
Surprise. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to work a lot of overtime and a lot of evenings and weekends to be able to pay it off, but we finally have it. I mean, you're asking me what I've been up to.
But you texted me this afternoon. I bought the cottage. Deal closed this afternoon. It's ours. Our weekend getaway. Our love nest. I love you, John. I promise that I'll tell Sam tonight.
Cut. Great. I really liked bringing it closer together like that.
It's an interesting dynamic. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's more of the push-pull. Much
Yeah.
more.
I think it's getting much closer to, if this was the direction we wanted to go with this scene, it was really nice. Like bringing you back up a little bit more it worked better for the way it went, but you held on to some of that body language, that behavior.
It was kind of fun. Like I felt like we were going like this,
Yeah.
right?
And you played it for sure, because I saw your body language change. You went from that self-centered, my phone, my coffee, to she's on to me.
I'm in trouble.
And then all of a sudden you opened up to her. You could see, I don't know, I hope you guys were noticing, you could see that suddenly you opened up to her, your hand was almost touching her back, like, hey, no, this is all good. And again, none of that's written. That's all stuff that is developed through conversations like this and through great performances by actors. So we're going to, because I think we're moving, the time is flying by, so we're going to do something just to change it up. Are there things that, Dorothy, that we should talk about first, or?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let me ask you a couple of questions. We've got a really good question from Jeffrey. It's kind of a little off the pace, but I want to ask it anyway. Jeffrey says, these are great actors. Where do you find your actors? So maybe you can talk a little bit about how high school filmmakers can best find some good performers. And then I've got some questions about the specific scene that I'm really interested. This is fascinating to watch, by the way. I hope everybody out there is enjoying it as much as I am. So, but the actor question first, if we can just sort of segue in that direction for a minute.
So was the first question, where did we find these actors?
Yeah, where did we find these actors? And then where would a high school student find actors that can do this kind of work?
Well, we did have a bit of trouble finding. Between Dorothy and myself, we know enough people in the community that we just started asking around, and I reached out to Andrew, and Dorothy reached out to Heather, and they both agreed, and so it was easier for us because we're both connected both to the theater and the film community, and Andrew is a former student, and I deal with him a lot as the manager of the film office in London. So
Fantastic former student.
fantastic.
forgot
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry.
fantastic.
He told me to keep using the word fantastic, and I keep forgetting.
I don't know what his deal is. And
in
Heather
ter-
and I are both.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're both involved in the local theater community
Yeah.
as well. So even if we couldn't, chances are we might
Yeah.
be able to know somebody who could.
With high
I
school,
reached out to Andrew to say, would you do it, or do you know of someone? And that's how you go about finding people, is it's networking. Heather, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and sorry, I was just thinking with high school too. I mean, you've got drama classes, you've got the drama club. I would hope that there's drama clubs in the high schools, and I mean, not just knowing the people who are in that drama club or in that drama class, but even the professor or the instructor. You know, that person probably has some connections. So reaching out and
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I would say
you know?
it takes the extra effort to get the better performer. So even in college we see this. The students will make a short film and just ask their roommate to be in the film, and then the film looks like a film that had a roommate acting in it. And as opposed to saying, okay, I'm going to work a little harder. You know, Facebook is an amazing resource. You know, if you've got if you've got a high school Facebook page, or go to the theater club, to the theater teacher, and present yourself as a filmmaker and say, hi, can I speak to your class for 5 minutes? And say, I'm making films and I'm looking for actors to collaborate with. You're gonna meet people, and that makes all the difference in the world, is if you've got people who are interested in that area, as opposed to a group of filmmakers and one of you ends up acting. Like, why not have someone who loves sound do the sound, and someone who loves taking pictures take the pictures? So you need to develop your network.
Very good. Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. And I love the advice of going to the drama class or a drama club, or that, you don't have to just work with the people that you specifically know that are in your class or in your grade. You can ask and use the resources that your school has. So great advice, great advice. Now I want to go back to the scene, because I am really fascinated with how you've changed the motivations slightly through, well, first of all, you talked about the status of the two. I'm wondering what would be, if we could think of the absolute highest stakes. So how can we charge the energy up in this to make it significantly more maybe an emotional experience for the two of them? What would really amp that up? And then maybe try it a completely different way and see if we can amp it up for maybe the finding the comedic moments in there. There's a couple of clever ones, and I'm not sure where that emotional energy would be with the performers to get to that comedic stage. I don't even know if it's possible, but I am curious about both of those, like really amping up the stakes.
Again, if we had a full screenplay that had a full story, we might be able to break that out. But Heather, in our conversation earlier, came up with an interesting thought, which was, where did it just come from?
Oh, that if I had been at a doctor's appointment and I've just received the news that we're pregnant, and then I get this text message from him.
Yeah, so that would definitely raise the stakes. So if this scene happened 2 scenes after we saw her, whether she was holding the
Pee stick.
Can you say pee on? No.
We did.
So basically, we know coming in that maybe we're assuming she's going to announce to him that she's pregnant, but actually she knows that he's cheating, and maybe there's some earlier scenes where we know that he's bought this cottage. So in the context of the full story, I think we could come up with all sorts of ideas.
Yeah.
In terms of the second part, I think given the time, the next thing we're going to do, just to really demonstrate again, it's not on the page, it's not in written words, it's about developing it. We're going to flip all the work we've done in status, we're going to switch them around this time. And Andrew's going to be a low status character whose lover, John, is a very high status character, and Heather is also a high status character. So he's stuck in the middle of these people who are just constantly bombarding him with, what he has to do. So let's, again, by now you've heard the words, you know the words. If anything, when one of them's talking, watch the other one. That sometimes or often in film, especially if, like, for example, this is a two-shot. I'm not sure if we'll have time to get to it, but the other way to do it is over the shoulder, and Andrew would be here, and you cut back and forth between the two. So we're going to do it now. Low status, high status. Let's go with extreme, and if we have time, we'll bring it closer together. Sure. And try and watch the person who is, you'll be on the other camera when you're watching this, try and watch the person who's listening for behavior more than the one who's talking. Okay? Action.
I can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again, but we were going to be...
I know, like I don't have a life. Where's the waiter? You got one already.
It's 5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Look over here, please. Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Purple. What did I ask you?
How was your day?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, you asked me how my day was.
Oh, how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, right? The nerve.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Can we just stop saying Jerkhead?
One more. Jerkhead.
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me what you're up to.
What are you talking about?
Working late? Working weekends?
Sam.
Quinn.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking you a question.
What? Oh, latte macchiato, skim milk. And you?
All the same.
Sorry, where were we?
Macchiato, insinuating, working another weekend.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it.
I'm sorry, I just... Go ahead. What is it?
Here.
It's cottage. It's that cottage.
It's that cottage. It's that. John, help me close the deal today. It was going to be a surprise. Surprise.
Surprise. Wow.
Yeah, like I'm going to have to work a lot of overtime and probably a lot of weekends too to be able to afford it. But you asked me what I'm up to, so it's just...
You texted me this afternoon.
I
bought the cottage. Deal closed this afternoon. It's finally ours. Our weekend getaway. Our little love nest. I love you, John. I promise that I'll tell Sam tonight.
Cut.
I stopped before you said cut. I'm sorry.
No.
Bad actor.
Yeah.
Bad actor.
audible enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could go in so many different ways with this scene, so I hope that certainly that demonstrated that there's way more that you can do for a scene than just follow the words or follow as is. How do you guys feel about that?
A lot of fun. Totally different.
Totally
scene.
different.
That last
Yeah.
scene was
Yeah.
almost...
There was a couple times where I looked over and you were so mousy and I just wanted to hug him. I'm like, oh, you poor
You're
thing.
intimidating.
You poor
Kept cutting me
thing.
off.
Yeah. The Quinn thing that was really nice too.
Yeah. I'm scared.
Yeah. Are there any comments about that, Dorothy? Does anyone want to?
You know what? That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. I don't know if I can. Yeah, there I am. I loved the moments there. At the very, very end, I'd be really interested to see that play out again. That energy, that dynamic where he has to deal with this because he's being kind of got the two more high status people on either side of him pushing him. The one isn't there, John, but Sam is. And I'd be really interested to see a bit more of that feeling of him wanting to escape that situation. He's like a little bit of a trapped animal, right?
Yeah.
So how can he demonstrate that in a subtle way, that feeling of, oh, I've got to get out of here? That discomfort that he's got to be feeling by the time he starts seeing her read this.
If we have time for one more, that's the direction I would have given is you're lying and you're a bad liar. Mm-hmm. So, and I didn't see enough of that. I felt the status, but now also I think if you could bring into it that you're terrible at lying,
Yeah.
and you don't want to get caught, and I think that's going to make you feel even more trapped.
Right.
And harder. Heather, you were very high status in many ways, but you were still backing off.
Right.
Make him be the one who backs off. So just even in a subtle way, like as much as earlier it was just a little shift to the side to get away from him. Just try and lean in on him.
I was actually just wondering if I'm probably the same height about. Can I try it standing?
Yeah, that frame should be good, right, Marcus?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're just going to fine tune. We're not going to change too much in terms of the status. That was really fun to see the difference. We're going to play around with it, and those little moments. Try and stretch out those moments that like when you've got a little extra time to let the audience know something. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Okay.
Let's try that. Action.
I can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again, but we were supposed to.
Right? Like I don't have a life.
Can I cut?
Yeah.
Just because we don't have time to do it too many times, can you just start that again? Pretend you're mad at him. You were coming in almost like it was funny.
Right.
So more like, oh, I don't want to give you a line reading, but more about you're angry at him, but you're not really. And again, you suck at lying.
I'm trying to act like I'm angry at him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Action.
Can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again, but we were supposed to be.
I know. Like I don't have a life. Where's the waiter? You got one already.
It's 5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Look over here. Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Purple. What? What did I ask you?
How was your day?
My day was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, you asked me how my day was.
Well, how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, right? The nerve of that.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Well, maybe we can just stop saying Jerkhead.
One more. Jerkhead.
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Why don't you tell me what you're up to?
I don't know what I don't know what you're talking about.
Working late? Working weekends?
Sam.
Quinn.
Sam, stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking you a question. What are you up to?
I'll have a latte macchiato, please. Skim milk. What will you have?
Another.
Sorry, where were we?
Macchiato. Insinuating. Working another weekend.
Sam,
Listen, I'm Quinn.
stop it, please.
Listen, I'm sorry. I just
Ping.
Go ahead. What is it? It's a cottage. It's that cottage?
It's that cottage. John helped me lock the deal today. It was gonna be a surprise. So, surprise.
Surprise? Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to work, a lot of weekends, and I have to work some overtime, to be able to pay for it. But it's ours.
You texted me this afternoon.
I
Bought the cottage. Deal closes this afternoon. It's finally ours. Our weekend getaway. Our little love nest. I love you, John. I promise. I'll tell Sam tonight.
About that.
Nice. Yeah, I could see this is, if we were to bring in comedy or that side of this, I think this is definitely the direction
just sort
to
of
go.
went that way.
Yeah. And it was a good exploration. It was, I would say this would have to be refined further, but again, it's a great demonstration of what conversation, what different ideas can completely change a scene. And again, if the tone of the film was different than what we've been doing, this could work really nicely. Time-wise, how are we doing? Are there any questions from the students out there?
We are doing fine for time. We've maybe got time for one more try at this, Romy,
Okay.
if you want to give another direction.
I'd like to try the over-the-shoulder, then just to show more of a
Sure.
filmic approach to how it is. If you bring your chair around, Andrew. Let's go back to the Andrew's high status and Heather's low status. Can you sit in just so we can frame it up? So this would be a conventional.
You can look at me, it's fine. In theater, it's always.
Eye contact.
And then Andrew, I'll give you some more. So this would be a more typical film setup where you would shoot this angle and then the reverse shot, and you can choose who we're focusing on. So when you're editing, Andrew could be speaking or Quinn could be speaking, and we get to watch Sam's reactions. So I'm going to just move this slightly. Your phone can be over here, Andrew. So again, now that we're speaking a little bit more about shooting or planning this out for camera, you want to play to the camera. So I want Andrew's phone to, this is the side that the camera's going to see. So he doesn't necessarily have to show it to the camera, but at least he's going to be looking towards the camera, and we're going to catch the edge of his face as opposed to, can we switch to the film camera, Derek? So if we put the phone on this side, we're getting some of Andrew's reaction here. If the phone was on the other side, it wouldn't be as interesting for the audience. So I want to get Andrew's eye line, and that's another thing you want to think about when you're making films is eye lines here. And we'll say the waiter or waitress when they come is over here. So again, Andrew, on this angle, we're seeing here, and Heather can look up there for where the waiter is. For me, this scene is more about the Sam character. It's more about Heather's character. And so we're only going to look at it from this one point of view, but you would shoot it from both sides. So let's go back to the high status, low status, but one that we kind of found closer to the middle.
Okay.
And, watch what Heather's doing in between. How, again, now that leaning away doesn't work as much, but the looking away, looking down. And then remembering that, this is this is where the audience is. If you are going to look away, keep it really close to camera. Like, don't look straight down, look here, closer to the axis. So if you're at home, if you were to look down here to look away from him, look down, we lose her eyes completely. Whereas if you're looking down just here, where my hand is, we're still getting to see some eyes. So try and keep your looks away, close to him, close to the lens, but not too far away that we lose what's happening in your eyes.
Okay.
So we'll do it from the top.
It's easy to sit down.
Action.
Can't believe that guy.
John?
Yes, John. He wants me to work this weekend again.
Again? But we were going to...
I know, like I don't have a life. Where's the waiter? You've got yours already.
It's 5:30. We said we'd meet at 5.
Over here. Anyway, how was your day?
Purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What, purple? Purple. What? What did I ask you?
How was your day?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
No, you asked me how my day was.
Oh, yeah. Well, how was it?
It was fine until Jerkhead ruined the weekend.
I know, right? The nerve.
I don't think we're talking about the same Jerkhead.
What?
I'm talking about a different Jerkhead.
Okay, can we just stop saying Jerkhead?
One more? Jerkhead?
What?
Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me what you're up to.
What? What are you talking about?
Working late? Working weekends?
Sam.
Quinn.
Sam.
Quinn.
Stop it. What are you insinuating?
Nothing. I'm asking you a question. What are you up to?
Latte macchiato, skim milk. And you?
I'll have another.
Sorry, no, where were we?
Macchiato. Insinuating. Working another weekend.
Sam.
Look, I'm sorry. I just...
Ping. I.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a cottage. It's that cottage?
It's that cottage. John helped me lock the deal today. It was gonna be a surprise. Surprise?
Surprise. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work a lot of overtime and probably some evenings and weekends to be able to pay for it, but it's ours. You asked me what I'm up to.
You texted me this afternoon. I bought the cottage. Deal closed this afternoon. It's finally ours. Our weekend getaway. Our love nest. I love you, John. I promise I'll tell Sam tonight.
Huh.
Cut. Great. I think we're close to being done. That was really nice. And it was nice to come back to that. And it's these guys are making it look easy, but all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're this way. Okay, let's go back to that one we did 10 minutes ago. And I think you guys really nailed it. And hopefully that demonstrates also the difference between the two shot and the over the shoulder as well. This is really nice to be able to focus on one, but you have to decide as an editor who the audience is going to get to experience. With the two shot, the audience gets to decide who they are, but you're further back. So once you get to those emotional moments, like it was so nice to be so much tighter on Heather, on Sam's character. With that over the shoulder, it really brings us into what's happening for that character. So Thinking about your camera setups makes a big difference on how you're telling your story as well.
And that brings me to another question that we had, and it's a really big question, and I know we're really right to the end, we're wrapping up. And maybe it's a good way to kind of wrap it up is give us a bit of an idea of the differences between acting for stage and acting for the camera. That was actually a terrific demonstration right there, bringing that closer up. Are there any other ways that acting is different when you're doing it in front of a camera as opposed to on stage?
That's a whole course on its own. The quick
Yes.
answer is, on stage you have to reach the front row and the back row at the same time. Whereas on film, the camera and the microphone will come in and will get it. And so, and to use the word subtleties is the wrong word, because that would insinuate that theater doesn't have subtleties. It's a different kind of subtleties. Like, Michael Caine says, the camera loves you. And what that means is you don't have to throw it out there. If you internalize it and really, really believe, the camera and the microphone will come and catch it.
Very nice. That's a really great way of summing it up. And an amazing demonstration. I can't thank you, all three of you, enough. Very good, skillful demonstration and flexibility from the actors. It was really wonderful, and I hope everybody out there enjoyed this and got as much out of it as I did, just sitting here watching from this perspective. So thank you for watching, everybody, and be sure to check out the other Filmmaker 101 videos that we've got out there. We've got lots of help making films, and remember to make your film and submit it to the oiff.ca, where you'll be directed on what regional film festival to enter it into. We'll look forward to seeing your films, and we will see you next time. Thanks again.